Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into the Performance Lab. Don't forget to subscribe below to the right for updates to new videos.
All right, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here from the Performance Lab of California. We've got another new breakdown for you today. It's going to be on Christian Coleman, and this is when he ran that 6.34. He broke the record. I realized, I was looking online, I realized I haven't done a breakdown on this, and I thought this would be an awesome video to break down. This is Christian Coleman here. Just because it'd be such a great thing to be able to really understand a little bit more of, how to get to that top 60 meter speed. And I do think probably Christian Coleman is, the best right now in terms of at least the 60 sprinting, because his ability to get started so quick, and he's just so explosive out of the box. So we'll put a little bit more concentration on the box, but we'll go into really all of what Christian Coleman does well. We've done a couple breakdowns with him in the past, so we'll be able to get you guys some good information. So you can see. What's interesting is really when he explodes out of the box, you can see a pretty high overall spine raise, right? And then after he takes that step, he kind of sinks back down with the spine, right? Because you can see at the height almost, you can see where his shoulders get up to. I'm going to go boom, right? And then he drops the shoulders back down. And he gets them back up a little bit, right? Gets them back up a little bit. And then he gets him back down again, right? So as he's stepping and pushing off, he's almost getting some height. Boom, pushing off, gets a little bit of height. And then as he lands, he's kind of sinking back down. And sorry, these aren't, this video's having a little bit hard time. But, he's sinking back down as he's taking each one of these steps. So he starts off, and he really gets a lot of explosion, and he gets a little bit vertical in the actual beginning, then sinks down, then pushes back off, gets a little vertical, and sinks back down, right? And so it's just an interesting thing to take note of, is that there is a little bit of a up and down movement while he's getting going. It might be a little bit difficult to be able to teach yourself this, but it's something to understand, right? Because some of you guys, I know even in my coaching, where it's like you see people that will really rise up too high, and it's definitely not a great thing. But here you can almost see a rationale for why raising too high wouldn't be too bad, just if you're able to get the spine back down underneath you afterwards, right? So you get the spine up a little bit, and then you can sink back down, get the spine up a little bit, and then sink back down, and use the momentum from each one of your steps to really help you and get everything going. So, a nice little interesting thing that we find out there. Now, but I think he does so good is, and part of the reason is because of his height, but he just does an excellent job of going right from his start into his transition. You can see, he really starts to, he's so quick out of the blocks, and then from here, he's able to get into his transition phase very, very nicely, where it's getting nice and long, and really being able to drive his heel up to his butt, and picking up the most amount of ground as he can while maintaining his overall cycle, right? So this is where he really is able to separate from people and create a lead, is because he so easily gets into his upright position within the spine, and he has such a nice overall cycle. You can see he's getting very, very vertical with each one of his steps here, which is critical to make sure that he's able to really get to a top speed very, very quickly. Okay, and when you're able to get to your top speed really quickly, now that puts such a huge advantage on a 60-meter run. So we talked about before how, I've done a breakdown with him doing like 100, and when he's doing 100, he gets to a point where he kind of like dies out a little bit at the end, where he's not able to continue his cycle. But at the 60, he never gets to that point because it's just too fast of a race. Okay, now on each one of these steps here, one of the big things that we could see is that he's really not spending very much time on the ground with his heel. Or he's not really touching the ground with his heel, and then he's also not allowing there to be too much time with his foot back behind him. And again, I know this isn't super HD here, but notice that here his foot's like barely behind him, and then the next frame we see he's about to be off the ground, right? Because I see this as a big thing with a lot of guys, is that as they're transitioning onto their leg, they're really not able to push off that back foot very, very early. And that's where I just did a video on this yesterday, where really being able to push off that big toe is critical to be able to create a lot of force and get vertical within the jump, but it's also critical to make it so you're able to get that elite level turnover, right? Because if your foot ends up too far back behind you, what happens is that now you're not able to get your knee all the way up. So a lot of times when you guys are not able to get your knees up, right, if you're too low with your knees when you're running, it's not because of something that you're doing, or weakness within the hip flexors, or something like that. It's actually because of your inability to push off the back leg correctly, right? So when you're pushing off the back leg, you're pushing off in a way that makes it so you're either coming too far up, you're too far back behind you, you're just not, or you're, yeah, I mean, those are going to be generally the two things, or you're just swinging your foot too low as it's coming forward, right? But you can see Christian Coleman does a good job of not doing any of those problems, where he's here and he's driving that leg right underneath him and through. And because he's able to do that, now he's really able to maintain a good knee position when his legs down in front. He's able to get that pull back. One of the things, another thing that I think is important is that when you guys get that knee out in front of you and your shin out in front of you, you want to initiate that pull while you're getting the knee through. So right here, you want to be pulling that. You want to be pulling this foot back underneath you while you're also extending the knee. Okay, so it's not something that happens one at a time. It's something that happens simultaneously. Right, so you're here, your knees up, and then you're extending, and as you're extending, you're pulling that underneath you, which makes it so now you're able to land with your foot right underneath your hip. Right, so that's going to be the key thing in being able to maximize your sprint. You got to be able to get that foot right underneath your hip in order to again make it so you can have that elite level speed. All right. As always, guys, thanks for watching these videos. I appreciate your interest here. If you want to get your own breakdown, I think it's super valuable. Give you a lot of detail about what you're doing in your sprint in comparison to what some of these top guys are doing. A lot of times they'll compare you to people that are about your same height, which gives you some understanding of what you can work on there. And just if you guys don't have like any type of coach or anybody that's giving you some real great technical advice, then it's really, really important. I think you can we've got one guy that just today he officially got up to a little bit over 3.5 miles an hour in speed now since we started working together, and it's been primarily through technique. I only see him once a week, and we just focus hard on technique, and by working on that technique 3.5 miles an hour faster is huge. I mean, that's a lot faster. Now he's going to be able to really make a big difference with his times, and so we're excited to see the improvements that are being made, and for him to continue to move forward. So yeah, these breakdowns are going to be critical to make it so you guys can really help in improving. And if you're also interested in doing the actual program with me, we'd love to have more people in the program. We have plenty of space open for guys if you guys are interested. And really the breakdowns, I think, are the real meat and potatoes, right? We have those in the program as well. But if you just want to get a breakdown, you could save a little bit of money, and it's also super effective for you. So as always, let me know if you guys have any questions, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you really enjoyed it, and if you did, you can subscribe down below, and that way you can get updates on any of the new videos that we get. Also, if you want to, you can check out some of our other breakdowns for speed and throwing. We have exercises, also jumping mechanics videos, a lot of great stuff within our channel. Hope you enjoy.